Hi, I'm Stellian, the creator of Am I the Problem, the playful Oracle deck or the Oracle play deck that's currently on Kickstarter. And today I'm going to talk to you about the green category, which is the category for mental problems. So we've covered the red cards, which are the cardinal problems. And we've covered the light blue cards, which are the emotional problems. Today it's time to enter the realm of the mind and talk about our mental issues, starting with the first green card dedicated to envy. Envy is an emotion that many people can experience, and it's kind of the next version of jealousy. It's when you like something in somebody else and you want it for yourself, but you do not know how to express your admiration to them. And it becomes this obsessive pattern that you crave this so much, you're willing to take it, even if it harms the other person, even if you have to employ tactics like mind games or spreading rumors. Envy is 100% a mental issue, a mental problem, and it should not be taken lightly because people are willing to go to great lengths in the process of obsessing over others versus taking accountability for their life. So, if the card envy appears on your path, it means that, first of all, do an accountability check in and examine. Am I focused on my journey? And am I looking at my progress and honoring my progress? Am I celebrating my progress? Or am I looking at somebody else and living my life in a way that it's designed to mimic that person or to want to reach something that somebody else has? How can I appreciate other people a little bit more versus obsessing over something that they may have before me? Equally, this card might point to somebody in your life that is envious of you, which again suggests that they cannot see you for who you are. They cannot see you for your heart, for your ideas, for your habits, but they see you for the things that they want, whether it's an aspect of your life, such as a relationship or stability that you have by having your own flat, apartment, house, or, having a really stable job, getting a promotion. People are not able to celebrate you when they're in the state of mind of envy. Be cautious, examine your circle, and remain calm as you set stronger boundaries. The second card is hatred. Hatred, we tend to think of as an emotion that is reserved to villains. Villains have a lot of hatred for humanity, therefore, they create these huge disastrous events. Or hatred is quite primitive again as a feeling, as an emotion, as a thought pattern where you see children that say, well, I love this and I hate that. And it's quite black and white thinking. Unfortunately, many people operate with hatred in their operational system and they're driven by that hatred. I mean, examine the trolls online that keep commenting negative things under people's posts, videos, content. People are fueled, they're driven by hatred in a way that it's irrational. One of the reasons this is happening is because it's a mental problem and it's a thought pattern. It's a series of thoughts that keep operating in a loop to keep you stuck in that loop of hatred. It can happen to anyone, but the worst possible scenario for hatred to manifest in one's life is when the people closest to you actually feel hatred towards you. And they're harboring that hatred and they're growing that hatred by having these thought patterns, these thought loops that they cannot escape anymore. So examine your own motives, examine your own thoughts, and examine what you're spending time thinking about. Are you driven by hatred towards a certain politician? It's very easy to join the hate trains for certain famous people. Are you holding resentment towards a relative, somebody that said something hurtful and you see them on every holiday, but secretly you hold out resentment and it's blocking you from loving the world, yourself, people? We all make mistakes. Some people are a little bit more evolved than others. We're not obliged to participate in anything that no longer is aligned with us. And maybe if you're feeling a little bit of hatred, it's the sign for you to take your distance from certain environments and people. Equally, if somebody is holding resentment, they're going to use that against you. They're going to look for reasons to hate you. And so anything that you do, even if it's good, even if it's positive, even if it's making the world a better place, they're going to be driven by that hatred, and they're not going to be able to see you because they're blinded by that hatred. So again, examine your circle and examine people in your life that may have these micro expressions of hatred. That's one of the signs that somebody has hatred for you. The next card is fake. And unfortunately, with this card, there is more to examine because this is the third card, and three is the card for communication expression. And so fake people are not always easy to spot because they take a lot of time to research and to perfectly curate their persona so that they mimic you, they mirror you, they present themselves as somebody that is acceptable, that is welcome, that is celebrated. And so fake people and spotting fake people in our life sometimes becomes a mission impossible. Even celebrities, you can look at the celebrities and examine them. You might be surprised that certain individuals are fake if you've been following them for a long time and one day they suddenly say something personal, share a belief of theirs, and you're like, "Oh, I did not know that this person thinks like that," or "I didn't know this person was this shallow." Again, it's a thought pattern that these people go to great lengths to avoid being seen for who they are, and equally they avoid actually building themselves up because they believe that if they adopt other people's behavior and mirror people, they don't need to do the inner work necessary to build themselves up. But in the process, they remain fake. They don't have an identity, they don't have an authenticity, even if they're presenting themselves as certain individuals. They're simply borrowing aspects of people. And if you're surrounded by somebody that's fake, they're gonna ultimately carry a little bit of resentment towards you, especially if you have taken the time to develop yourself. And in their mind, they're going to want to make your identity or other people's identity their permanent identity, which again, this is not how identity building works. You don't just copy other people, you take the time to get to know yourself. So, if you're looking at the card from the perspective of examining your own behavior and your own motives and taking accountability for your own growth, this is an opportunity for you to examine exactly where you might be a little bit fake in your presentation, perhaps the style that you're wearing, what you're presenting in terms of your outfits. It's not exactly who you are, but rather it's a series of observations around what's fashionable, and you've chosen to wear that because it gives you a better chance at fitting in. That's one example where you can use this as a growth opportunity to move from fake to authentic, genuine, sincere, honest. This is the level for self expression, whether it regards other people or yourself. And how you choose to use this card when it appears on your journey is entirely up to you. But there's always room for improvement for ourselves, and we should always look for the opportunity to take more accountability for our own behavior, even if it means setting boundaries with others. That's still up to us to do. The fourth card is mentally unstable. So we're aligning with number four in numerology, which is the number for the inner world, the subconscious mind, and the depth, the great psychological depth that's inside of us, the psyche. If you're dealing with someone that's mentally unstable, they're going to be very unpredictable. And they might have these extreme mood swings where, for a very long time, everything's normal, everything is like a fairy tale, everything, they're happy, there are rainbows and sunshine and butterflies. But when things get really bad, it's like a horror film. It's like a horror story, and you're stuck in that horror story with this person that seemingly appeared like somebody else. Again, each of the cards that builds up one, two, three, four, as we're building up, it features aspects of the previous card and it leads to the next card. So a person that's mentally unstable, they have experienced the emotions of envy, of hatred, of being fake, because once again, they don't have a clear identity built. They don't have strong foundation. And the next card is going to explain why. But a person that's mentally unstable has suffered some sort of trauma to their identity, and they haven't recovered from that trauma. And so when you're dealing with someone that's mentally unstable, they would need professional assistance at some point, a coach, a therapist, a mentor, someone to guide them. Especially if this is in the context of friendship, it is not your responsibility to parent or teach an individual that's meant to be your peer, that's meant to be someone that you share a life with. When young people deal with mentally unstable peers, they grow too fast because they take the responsibility that should be a responsibility for their parents, but their parents were absent, their teachers were absent. It can be very exhausting to you if you have to deal with somebody that's mentally unstable. Obviously, if this is bringing some triggers to you and you feel like you're a little bit mentally unstable, again, there are professional services available to all of us. And I'm sure there are even free services or people that offer free introduction sessions to support you to get started receiving that help. Dealing with mentally unstable people, again, it can take a while for you to figure out that you're dealing with somebody that's mentally unstable. And ultimately, their mind is messed up at the level of their thought patterns. And so it's not easy for them to leave those loops. If a fake person, they have these loops and they think, well, if I present that, then that's how the person is going to see me, that that's the treatment that I'm going to get. There are combinations, there are formulas. With a mentally unstable person, the thought patterns are like a maze, and they themselves get lost in that maze. So when it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's awful regarding the mood swings. But again, it might be useful. It might guide you. It might support you that you're not the problem and that you're not going crazy and that the person that you're dealing with is a little bit mentally unstable. And it's not your responsibility to go and fix them. If they haven't taken the time to take accountability, maybe it's a useful opportunity to bring their attention to it, but it's ultimately their choice to start their healing journey. The fifth card is trauma. And this is where people are prematurely severed from their playful self, from their inner child. A lot of people experience their trauma early life in their childhood, hence why we refer to trauma as childhood trauma, and they carry deep wounds, invisible scars with them until they face their inner world. And trauma can happen as a result of many things: neglect, violence, psychological and emotional instability that was at the level of the parents, therefore the household. Again, if you're dealing with somebody that has trauma, they may be unpredictable. In their case, it's not necessarily the mentally unstable patterns that are quite active, but a person with trauma might, take their distance unexpectedly because they're dealing with complex emotions that they don't know how to handle. The thought patterns are being suppressed. They're not giving themselves the expression that they need to face those thought patterns most of the time, because with trauma we also have a lot of emotions involved. So it's the next step of the psyche and the subconscious mind. It's where everything meets, and many people are not ready to face their trauma. I think a lot of people can do their trauma healing on their own. They don't need specialists. I mean, there's a lot of content online. There are a lot of videos recorded from teachers and mentors and coaches that have dedicated their career to build those resources. So it's not as acute as a mentally unstable person, but you have to hold a lot of patience for people, especially if they have informed you that they're dealing with trauma, that they're healing trauma. And if this card points to your wounding, your trauma, your triggers, it's a sign that you're ready to do more of the inner work necessary for you to outgrow this limited sense of self that was created due to the trauma that kind of locked you inside of yourself. The sixth card, regret. We're outgrowing the previous two cards, the mentally unstable and the trauma, and we're moving to the sixth card, which is the card that kind of aligns with the number six, which symbolizes self growth. So, regret happens when we put an anchor somewhere in the past, and every step that we take forward into the present moment, it brings us back into the past because that anchor is holding us back. Regret can happen at many different points and regarding many different things. It can happen in the context of friendships, it can happen in the context of opportunities, it can happen in the context of love. Maybe there was an opportunity that presented itself and you didn't take it. That was a choice that you made in the past. It's no longer available. It's not a choice that you can make again. Maybe somebody confessed their love, but you were too scared and you're like, no thanks. Again, that's something that happened in the past, but you're still carrying it with you because a part of you hasn't processed it fully. You've anchored yourself in the past. So regret has a lot to do with examining your own inner world and figuring out what are my anchors from the past that are holding me back, that are preventing me from seeing what's in front of me right now. They're preventing me to honoring myself the way that I am right now. Maybe it has something to do with the way that you acted versus how other people were. And if you're dealing with somebody that is in the mental state of regret, they're not present. They're unable to be fully present with you. Maybe you've met a new connection, whether it's a romantic or a platonic connection, it doesn't matter. The principle is the same. You've met somebody new, you're all in, you want to get to know them, you want to create meaningful memories together. And there just seems to be something that is blocking the communication. If they're in the thought patterns of regret, they're continuously going back to the anchor. And unfortunately, they will not be able to be fully present with you and fully integrated because an aspect of their identity is also there where the anchor is. So they haven't integrated the life lessons that are still at that point of the anchor because they haven't processed fully what happened. And so they're going to keep going back. They're going to be having a conversation with you, experiences with you, but in their mind, they're going to be going back. So it's something to consider for yourself if you want to invest into relationships and connections with people that are currently unavailable. Number 7, we have the card for the covert narcissist. And the reason I've chosen number 7 is because covert narcissists tend to be great chameleons. And 7 is the number for connections and meeting people. And so you wouldn't be able to tell somebody is a covert narcissist when you first meet them, and even when you spend some time with them. A covert narcissist reveals themselves, or you can glimpse beneath the mask after months and even years of knowing them. There are usually red flags early on at some point, but you're not going to be able to make sense of them at the level of your mind. You're going to notice the red flags at the level of your intuition and the heart because our intuitive abilities can pick up on these inconsistencies much faster than the logical mind. However, once you figure out that you're dealing with a covert narcissist, then you can begin to work with the logical mind and make sense as to how they're operating. What is their mental game plan? What are the mind games that they employ? What are their tactics? And they usually will have some of the previous cards, especially fake, especially the trauma card, mentally unstable. It might be a combination of some of the previous thought patterns that have created the covert narcissist. Remember, there's a human in that person, there is a soul somewhere that they're connected to. But if they have created some sort of strategy to manage their inner world so that they never have to expose who they truly are because they want their coping mechanisms to be the wall of protection, you don't stand a chance of getting to know this person. And if this card is showing up on your journey, it might be an invitation for you to examine, are there strategies that you've automatically applied into your inner world management to prevent other people to get to know you, which might be because of trauma, it might be because of something that's unresolved inside of you that is kind of mimicking the covert narcissist archetype. Card number 8 is toxic. So 8 is a number of transformation and that growth that happens rapidly or growth that is quite expansive. And when we have people that have toxic habits and patterns, their growth is suppressed. It's blocked because they keep bringing their toxic habits and patterns in every new opportunity, in every new connection. They don't know any other way. They only know their toxic ways, and their toxic ways are these tactics for them to adapt and survive. Toxic people have toxic coping mechanisms as a way to survive the world. They don't know any better. So if you're dealing with someone that's toxic, it's going to take a while for them to figure out what they're doing that's toxic. And you can communicate if something that they're doing is toxic to you, that it's hurting you, that it just does not make you feel good, you can communicate and make that known to them in case they're unconsciously doing those things. If somebody's consciously being toxic, there is a part of them that enjoys the chaos. And the reason they enjoy the chaos is because there is chaos in here. There's chaos at the level of their thoughts, at the level of their thought patterns. And this is kind of their way of bringing some sort of revenge to the world. You brought this chaos here. Now I'm gonna make your life chaos. It's a lot of the previous cards are at play when it comes to the toxic card. You might be dealing with someone that's mentally unstable. You might be dealing with someone that is envious that you have your life together, that you have organized the compartments of your brain and they haven't. And so it's essential that you examine the situation and take your distance if you feel like it's unsafe for you and for you to protect your identity. Equally, this card might be an invitation for you to examine your own behavior and coping mechanisms. Maybe something that you adopted a few years ago when you didn't have any other choice is now a toxic coping mechanisms that you no longer need because you're not in the toxic environment. It's an invitation for you to take accountability as always and equally to examine the world around you, the room, and who's in that room with you. Card number 9 is ambitious. And you might think, well, this is not a negative card. I know some of these cards are not negative. And equally, when we are too ambitious, that's when things can be a little bit more toxic. When we are too much in that aggressiveness of, I need to get this done, my identity depends on me achieving this goal. There is that stubbornness, there is that determination, but it takes precedence over everything else in your life and you start to neglect people, other aspects of your life, even your own health. If you're so driven by this goal because you've now assigned that goal the role of supporting your identity or breaking your identity. And if you don't achieve that goal, then you're a failure. You've given your power away to a set of goals. So be wary of people that are too ambitious on your path, on your journey, if they're not a little bit too toxic in their ways, because they don't necessarily believe in their power to achieve. And so it's their goal that empowers them. It's something outside of them that empowers them versus them believing in their power and then investing that power into building something. This can apply to you as well. Are you too much into your goals and not enough into the present moment? Because there is a balance that you need to achieve between what you want to accomplish, where you are, bring that together, reflect on your progress, and take informed decisions every single day. Rather, take integrated decisions, decisions that are based on the versions of you that you've already accomplished, that you've already unlocked, so that they're fully integrated and you're acting from a more informed, integrated version of yourself. It can be a positive card as well. It can be confirmation that now is the time for you to be ambitious. Now is the time for you to dream bigger. 9 is the number for higher meaning, higher purpose, and higher growth, higher self. So this might be a confirmation that you're perfectly ambitious at this time. Just make sure that you have that balance, because when you go out of balance, you start to create anchors, and these anchors are pulling you everywhere but forward and towards where you need to go because you're anchored into the present moment every single day. The last card is sensitive. This is the 10th card. And a lot of people that are sensitive tend to think of their intuitive abilities, their empathetic self, as some sort of curse. And this is what blocks them from success. 10 is the card for completion, card for success, public life, recognition. Many sensitive people, they withdraw their energy from social interactions, from public life, because they feel too much, and their abilities to feel and sense things that other people cannot start to feel like a burden. And when this card appears on your journey, it's an invitation for you to share more of yourself. It's an invitation for you to view your abilities from a different point of view, because your gifts are not something that most people have access to. If you're a certain sensitive person, you have the ability to direct your thoughts in alignment with your emotional body with more ease. Therefore, you have the ability to flow with more ease. Books have been written about the ability to flow and how successful people aim to get to that state of flow. This is priceless. It's an ability that's priceless, and you might have multiple abilities that allow you to do that. So it's essential that you come back to the present moment, that you come back to people because they need you. Naturally, first focus on your flow and the flow of your thoughts and get out of your head. This is the biggest, probably the card that gets you the biggest indication that you need to get out of your head and return back to your feeling body. because it's your emotions that are going to allow you to unblock whatever is happening here. But equally, there is a component that's connected to your sensitive nature that relates to your success, your unique pathway to success in life. And this might also be what helps you to connect with other people and help them succeed. It's kind of your the secret key, the sauce, the secret ingredient to the hot sauce. Equally, you might be dealing with someone that's sensitive, someone that needs a little bit more patience, and somebody that feels too much. So you will not be able to lie to them. Let's say that you have developed feelings for somebody and you're pretending that these feelings don't exist. They're going to be able to sense that. Or if you've developed some sort of resentment towards somebody because they're succeeding things seemingly effortless and you have to work really hard, they're going to pick up on your resentment, and that's what's going to create the divide between the two of you because you're not being honest. I think all of our emotions are normal emotions. They come to the surface, we acknowledge them, we learn from them. They're trying to inform us of something, and they give us an opportunity to take accountability for our own actions, but also accountability when it comes to communicating so that we can remain connected to others, or disconnecting if we no longer want to be connected to others. So this is a great card. It's a multi-layered card. It's not all bad. I think the last two cards, they carry potential for confirmations and building on top of your existing abilities and gifts, which is how I like to end the third category of Am I the Problem? The Oracle Play Deck. The campaign is going to be on Kickstarter until the 1st of January if you want to join and get your copy of the deck. If there is a card that you want to learn more about, let me know and I'll dedicate some more time talking about it and explaining it. And yeah, if you've watched this video until the end, what is your favorite green card? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and thank you for supporting Am I the Problem?